Hey guys, I was just watching this movie with Tom Hanks, right? And the guy from what was this? Scorpion King. He also played it in Baby Boy. Now let me explain something to you. You ever seen? I just mop my floor, right? And in my social economics mopping the floor, you ever seen somebody that was from, say you have a person of sensitive to nature, right? And say for instance, oh pardon me, it's too tight. Say for instance, they're sensitive to nature, right? And then say for instance, the person is sensitive to nature a certain type of way, and then say for instance they go and I mop the floor and I'm in a certain social economic system. So the debris and dust of the social economics is a certain type of way. So say somebody's from that social economics that is of Nubianism and of and sensitive to natural nature, and they happen to be around, say, I mop the floor in Aurora, and then or orbiting rotation of Aurora. And then next thing you know, you have somebody in Nubianism that is just like say for instance a guy that played in Baby Boy. He's from the situation a certain type of way, and then he goes around white people, and then they're cleaning, and then they're naturally of light anatomy it looks like clumsy anatomy, and then people that try to keep themselves upright, and then he's also clean, but they start discriminating on him because the debris I'm mopping up is from travels from his social economic system into my apartment. And then next thing you know, probably something I stepped on or whatever, or wherever I was, and then I mop it up. Remember, the current of the natural elements of the ground is covering the natural nature. So the trees of the pollen and then the dust of the dirt and the grass accumulates because that's natural nature. If somebody sells their social economic, they might be a little confused if they're a feminine being. But a man is also sensitive because he's a pitchfork, so he vibrates off the natural impulse of the conduct of the elements of his anatomy and his social surrounding. And then say somebody soiled his surrounding of his social economics, and then he's fighting something and looking for something, and then he ends up in the wrong place because I walk around, I step by a garden that has a certain type of debris or whatever, and he's from it, and then next thing you know, it's just like what happened in Japan and China with their soil. So then next thing you know, I come in my apartment and then I mop the floor with me. I'm Aurora's husband, literal husband of the Aurora Borealis, or you can say the Aurora Borealis, some of y'all say. But I mop the floor and I'm her literal husband, literally. I'm talking about literal. So I'm not only Andromeda, I'm her literal husband, even of love. You can even check the star chart. I'm serious. So then I come and I mop the floor, and then I'm around. I'm using the mop from my social economics and my energy, and then the Nubian dude from Baby Boy, he happens to travel a bunch of white people from Aurora, and then his debris from his garden where he's from that nurtures his anatomy to the depth of his dark matter of his melatonin. His melatonin is a certain type of way because the herbs and the food that's processed at the time and the natural vegetables that grow is from his social economics. And then remember, he's Nubian. Say he's naturally sensitive to the atmosphere, and then somebody sees him and they're like, oh my god, he was the debris so and so, and then he's cleaning everything and they say he is the debris because another person can't they're just trying to identify the natural cause of the situation, and then he's looking for the situation that fucked up his situation a certain type of way, and it's causing him to offset it because say he does some tree magic, and then he goes, or grass or garden magic, and he goes to go find out certain things to see where it travels to because he wants to do something new and be adventurous in his life, and he travels outside his social economics. Then you see a bunch of white people from Aurora, my children, also, they see him, they're like, oh my god, look, so yes, I made white people, I made the real Caucasian, the first the first albinos, the real Caucasian, Hispanics, Latin, Latinos, also known as a white man, also in Caucasians. Like, those are my literal children. Like, I made the first literal children of the star chart. You can check every star chart. I'm the literal. You'll go see a white man live just like this on television, and then on top of it, just like this on television. You see? And on top of it, oh, pardon me, I intensify the light. So then I told you this even when I was at 4023 Avenue. You can't do the same thing, but say you go see. You see, I'm just watching the show. See the show I'm watching. This is Nick. So say this Victorious, a show called Victorious. Say my children from somewhere go and travel to his social economics, or what he travels to their social economics, being adventurous because he sees something clean went around his social economics, and that cleaned up a situation, and he's thinking that he could get physical help from another person that could clean off his situation. But when he gets there, they accuse him for being a dark matter, and they because he's the only dark matter thing around. It just all trickles down to him because he's from the social economics that nurtures his anatomy, and then other people are confused because that's the only thing around. Now, an innocent man can't be blamed for a person's stupidity because they don't know how to identify, and then they watch every little thing he does, and then where he's from, and so and so, and then they want to travel. They don't travel to know because some people stay in their social economics. They don't travel to know, but some people travel a certain type of way. But say they travel to get into adventurous, and because some people travel to even learning the natural conduct from the vibrational current from their elements. So he travels because the natural conduct from the natural soil that nurtures his anatomy of his vegetation, because he probably think he can find some food or give somebody some food or help somebody or something or look at something or trying to be adventurous. My children see him because he's also my child, but my children sees him and then says, oh my God, oh, he's no good or this, that, and then they're from the same star chart, but he's from the natural soil. Say he's from the natural soil, they'll know him from a distance because remember, any celestial and telestial, astrological, super mega quantum highest or beyond highest, there was a big empress from inner points of enlightenment like stars, and they position different in the sky and it's spaced apart. So at a certain time of the orbiting rotation or certain conduct, they gather together and it forms first the astral body before it goes on to the higher crown or the lower depth of a certain empress of a point of enlightenment that manifests in the physical reality of the anatomy at the time of cellular structure that generates a form of matter that forms her physical. So now it's just like something like Star Trek, but it's something more in depth than that, And then next thing you know, Pete is just like, how they beat me up, Scotty, and they be same thing. So then after that, they look at the individual at the time, like, oh, you from this, you caused this, or you did this, and they blame him. And then it'd be somebody in his social economics or somebody that ruined his soil and his vegetation or something. And then he's just looking like the off conduct. And then they try to put him in an electric chair. Because I was watching a movie with Tom Hanks. They just try to put him in an electric chair. But, some things are, or something are organized a certain type of way because they know certain things and they hold certain people accountable for. But Tom Hanks was a corrections officer in an old country jail. And you know how some people are ignorant when it comes to their social economics. If they don't have that type of education, they don't realize certain things happen a certain type of way. And then other people just want to see certain things happen because they want to know the physics, or they want to know if a person's a part of their star chart at the lower point of the inner celestial being, or a certain type of natural celestial being, or certain things. So some people don't know about stuff like that. And then next thing you know, they accuse an innocent man, he gets caught up. This is what I was telling you about certain social economics, because some people, when they eat certain things, it's from certain social economics of natural soil. That's why a person of dark matter, it has a lot of melatonin. is something called the melatonin. It's more really called pigment. Pigmentation is the light anatomy. Melatonin is a dark. It gets into the darker anatomy at the time that enriches the natural soil, the natural habitation of the humane condition, or the natural pigmentation that cause a natural matter in the physical reality to generate and refine. So melanin. So another person has to know the difference of what's going on, and then the natural nurturement of the dark matter, because of depth of reality. So a person could get into, like I said, there's beyond highest quantum. Anyway, a person could get into certain things a certain type of way without knowing what they need. The key is to be able to travel a certain type of way. Some people don't get into certain things like that because they're not educated enough to know the literal physics to do certain things on a metaphysical level. So I'm gonna be real. If a person gets caught up in a situation a certain type of way, a person has to know the difference, because you don't want to accuse somebody because the fact is they're being abused to the natural habitation of the natural nature. So you got to know the difference in social economics before you start doing certain things to certain people. You don't want to be looked as a stupidity and do something wrong to an innocent person. But it's just an idea that I have, and it's also still Black Friday. And I hope, and Thanksgiving just passed. Happy holidays, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful night. It's just something I just wanted to educate you on before another person gets ignorant. Have a wonderful night.